Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexiot's here, and it's a Wow Wednesday. And we've got a few things to wow about today. Quite a few things, actually. Three big things. Some breaking news that just came out just minutes before the stream that Bell has been bought out of ownership of MLSE, and Rogers is buying their share. So Rogers is going to be the primary owner of MLSE, the Leafs, and the Raptors, Toronto FC, everything. And I'm a little worried about that. That's crazy news because we know Rogers is very baseball focused. We've seen how Rogers runs the Blue Jays, and we're kind of like, So this is worrisome. This is worrisome that Bell's getting out. Bell's saying that they want to focus on switching from being a telecommunications company to just a tech company, and that they don't want to have the resources. And now Bell and TSN will continue to broadcast the Raptors for another 20 years because they have a contract with that, but they will not be one of the owners. And they will also be a sponsor still. So we'll see the Bell stuff around the team still, but they won't technically be one of the owners. Now, this means that in some ways, Larry Tenenbaum is not the deciding vote anymore, that Ed Rogers is in charge, and he is kind of the one who can make all the decisions. I'm very, very worried about this in different ways. Now, there is a statement out by Rogers right now that is saying this, and this is basically Ed Rogers kind of talking, is Rogers Communication has announced today that it has signed an agreement to buy Bell's 37.5 ownership stake in Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment for $4.7 billion. MLSC is one of the most prestigious sports and entertainment organizations in the world, and we're proud to expand our ownership of these coveted teams, said Tony Staffieri, president and CEO of Rogers. As Canada's leading communications and entertainment company, live sports and entertainment are a crucial part of our core strategy. This is what they're saying here. This is the important part. We'll continue to invest to bring championships to Canada. Rogers has invested $14 billion in Canadian sports over the last decade. With this transaction, Rogers will continue to invest to bring championships to Canada. Winning is everything for fans, and that's why we're committed to investing to bring more championships to Canada, said Edward Rogers, executive chair, Rogers. We're passionate about sports, and we're passionate about winning. I hope he's not just speaking lip service. I hope that he's not just saying something and he's not meaning it because he's in some ways just running a business and he just cares about profit, not necessarily about the championships. I hope you're being serious, Ed Rogers, because in some ways I'm worried about this. So they're also saying that Rogers is looking to add new private investors inside to buy parts of it also. So they're not going to hold that huge big chunk themselves. They are going to allow other people and other businesses to come in and buy percentages of ownership of MLSE also. So yeah, this is a big deal. In some ways, the hiring of the new person in charge of MLSE, Keith, is in some. I think that's his name. Keith, isn't his name Keith or something? Is symbolic of this change that was coming. That in some ways he's going to be the guy in the middle of it all as it's going. They wouldn't have hired him just now and made a big deal out of him coming in as the CEO, the new CEO of MLSE, if he wasn't a part of this whole deal. So this is breaking news. This just came out like in the last half hour or so, last hour or so. So very, very big news there. We've also got the jersey leaks. Yeah. And this is actually the real jerseys. I was wrong. I was looking at them yesterday and I was like, man, that Raptors logo with Vince Carter Raptor logo jersey looks so badly put together. Like the logo on the jersey is off center. It looks cheap. The prototype. And I'm like, wow, this can't be our city edition jersey because it looks cheap, but it is. It is confirmed that the Vince Carter Raptors logo jersey, black and purple, will be our city edition this year. It's just that the prototype, the one they released, the picture of it is such a crap version. You guys don't put out an off-center jersey and expect us to believe it's real, but it is because I'm seeing it in other places that are bona fide and for real and official NBA. With the other official city edition jersey. So it is a real jersey. It's the Raptors logo with Vince, the Vince Dunk logo that we've seen this summer, with a black jersey with purple detail. And there's also the pinstripes that Butt Dial wanted. So that is the jersey, apparently. And they'll put the number up in the corner away from the the Raptor logo. So yeah, that is the jersey, and we also did get confirmed the purple front back black, back black back that I've been saying all summer is going to be our retro jersey for the retro games is the retro jersey. I was exactly right. So you guys are getting a dinosaur jersey, but it's going to be the Vince Carter dunk logo jersey for City Edition. It's not going to be the old school original Raptors expansion jersey. So that's crazy news. And then on top of it, of course, the breaking news yesterday that came in. Well, I went and did a whole bunch of investigating yesterday after I finished my stream. And I think that this is all very, very true. These rumors about Scotty Barnes possibly having a baby on the way. All the details that I can see on social media point to this being very, very, very true. And we know the identity of the young woman that is carrying Scott's baby, apparently. I'm not going to put her name on blast on this stream, but I will talk a little bit about her. She seems to be a Canadian woman from Guelph, and there's some speculation that she is a flight attendant. I don't know if that's exactly right. I've also speculated that she is not necessarily a flight attendant, but maybe somebody who helps Scotty with his dogs, because his dogs are all over her TikTok. She has TikToks of her hanging out with Cardi and Cece on her TikTok. And there's other signs that she is bona fidely the woman in Scotty's life because, there's a lot of people that are close to Scotty. They're following her. The Raptors are following her. And I'm swear she's in the woman that's in the Instagram story from this Sunday at Lake Ontario with the dogs, that she's the one standing in the water with Cardi and Cece at the lake shore of Lake Ontario from Sunday on Scotty Barnes's Instagram stories. So yeah, she seems like a very nice person. She seems like an amazing person. Honestly, she's funny. She's witty. She's super talented. And I can see why Scotty is into her, because knowing Scott from Twitch and what his sense of humor is and kind of like the things that he values and cares about, she seems like she's got a lot of it. She's not the normal kind of person that's trying to get with NBA players. Trust me. I can tell this. Seriously, she's not one of these groupies that are going to the clubs or trying to find them at hotels. She's just a Canadian girl from around our area that just happened to connect with him. And I speculate how they connected. I don't care. In some ways, it's none of my business. But I thought that originally the fact that she was in Guelph and she was connected to his dogs, that she may have been the person who's boarding his dogs for him when he's on the road, or maybe even the person he took Cardi to for obedience training in the very beginning. I don't know if that's exactly her business, but Scotty did say a couple of years ago, I took my dogs out to Guelph for boarding. So that may be how he met her, is very organically through his dogs. But I'm not totally sure. I can't say that what I'm saying is for sure truth or anything. There's speculation she's a flight attendant. There's speculation by me that she might possibly be somebody who was involved with taking care of his dogs. So either way, she seems like a really cool person. She's extremely talented. She has a really good singing voice. And apparently she's the lead singer of a band in the Toronto area also. So she is older than Scott, and there has been a lot of talk about this all over Twitter and Reddit that, like, oh, this is another one grabbing these youngsters. Some people are getting all crazy saying this is like Jalen Green. I want to say this. This is not like Jalen Green. The woman that got with Jalen Green has been getting with all kinds of different NBA players. Like she has a roster of NBA players herself. This woman is not like that. You guys got to understand. This is not one of those kind of like chasing NBA men to get a baby and like latch onto them. No, I don't think this is how this happened. I think that this was very organic. And honestly, knowing Scott and how private he is and how much he really keeps loyalty and good people around him, he did not do this by mistake. I'm going to tell you that right now. He did not do this by mistake. Now, I can speculate why Scotty wants to have a baby right now. I would say this. Maybe it's because he sees Braun and Bronny. Yeah. Maybe he sees that LeBron's going to get to play with his son right now. He's like, oh, shit, I better get going. So he wants to have a kid now. Another thing people are getting mad about is how much older she is than him. Honestly, that's a good thing, guys, in all kinds of different ways. First of all, she's more mature, and she's probably going to look out for Scott in different ways. She seems like the kind of person that is more like a nice person instead of a gold digger. And she seems like the kind of person that just kind of like has feelings for him in the right ways and not just in the ways that are like you know what I mean, as far as that. So I think that in some ways, this is a great situation for Scotty because if he wants to be a young dad and he wants to have a kid, I think that he picked a nice person to do it with because everything I did as far as research looking into her, it was like she's legit and she's not really somebody that seems like what we're saying from before. A lot of NBA players get trapped in these kind of ways. Another thing that I would point out to youngsters who are like, why is he with a 32-year-old? Is that also, that's the other thing. What happens usually? Anna Nicole Smith and who she married, that old man to get his money. Well, if she's older than him, you think that she's trying to outlast him to get his money or anything like that. Also, there's a lot of speculation whether they'll get married. I don't think they will. I do not think they will. I think that in some ways, marriage is something that a lot of people like to go and do, but a lot of NBA players are not about getting married. And a lot of them have ambiguous relationships with their women that even if they're baby mamas for them. So I would hold your breath on if you think Scotty Barnes is going to have a big wedding ceremony with this woman. So it's a fantastic thing. This is great news. This is awesome news. And everybody who's reacting in a negative way to Scotty Barnes having a baby, you're crazy. This is great for him. I'm so happy for you, Scotty. And I can tell this is going to be a really, really interesting effect on you personally as a person. You're going to mature a lot because of this. You can ask old Raptors like Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan and Chris Boucher what it's like to have a kid and how that changes your life. So, Scotty, this is good. Maybe you see it in Chris. Maybe you've seen Chris since he's had a kid, how he changed or became a person where he's like, I'm working harder because I have somebody else I got to work for in that kind of way. So in some ways, the motivation factor for Scotty could be super good, super, super good on this. So we'll have to see how this all goes down. At least Scotty has a great support system. And like I said, I did a checkout on her. Her TikTok is still up. Her Instagram is private, but her TikTok is up. And there's a lot on her TikTok that absolutely shows that she's been kind of in the orbit of Scotty Barnes for a couple of years now. This is not somebody he just met recently. This is somebody he's known probably since he came to Toronto almost. And this is something that's been on the down low under wraps for the whole time. So just giving a little, at least from what I can discern, not everything I said right now was probably totally true, but this is me just making my educated guesses through critical thinking about this situation with Scotty and his new baby mama. We'll call her the baby mama. So yeah, Kareem's saying congrats to Scotty. I remember having both my kids at the age of 19. Wow. They're 20 now, and being young parents is the best choice me and my wife have ever made. Blessings to him. Now marry her. Yeah, I wouldn't hold your breath on that. In some ways, her TikTok is full of a lot of self-deprecating jokes about her being the single friend and her friends being all like having kids and stuff like that, and her being a mess at 30 and not involved with anyone. She's kind of one of those people. It's kind of like, oh, look at me at 30 and I'm single and I'm not doing anything with my life. This is like 2 years ago. And all my friends are hitched and they're having kids and starting families and stuff like that. I don't know if this is actually in the cards. We'll have to see. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe Scotty will marry her. I don't know. But we know that with that, there's a whole other level of problems that NBA players can get in if they do go south in their relationships and stuff. You can talk to Michael Jordan about this. You can talk to Michael Jordan about this. He could tell you about this, Scotty, and how to arrange a prenuptial agreement if you need to. But yeah, this is something that Jordan did very well with his most recent wife. To the point, actually, I was reading about this recently. That Jordan basically just said, "Look, you're not getting half my money, but you can have $5 million a year for the rest of your life. How about that? That sounds like a pretty good deal. But she's not getting half of the Jordan empire, but she gets $5 million a year for the rest of her life. The woman that's currently married to Michael Jordan. So there's arrangements, there's ways to do this in the right way, Scott. So whatever you're going to do, I fully support, man, because I'm a huge fan of yours and it's your life, bro. Nobody's going to tell you how to do it, man. You do it the way you want to, my guy. That's right. Trevor J is here. Good morning, family. Some people will only love you as much as they can use you. Their loyalty ends where their benefits stop. Jeez, that's cynical. But in a lot of cases, this is absolutely true. And it's sad. It's sad that it's like that, Trevor. I appreciate you being here, Trevor. And thanks again for all the things you're doing for the channel and fun things. Commissioner Fun sending me this chair. And also, apparently, we're getting some new classic cards in the mail today. So I'll have a new box to do the classic cards out of, hopefully by the end of today, Trevor. And I really appreciate you sending them. Trevor's saying Lakers waive two-way Blake Henson for Coloco. Yeah, we found out the name of which two-way was waived by the Lakers to make room for Coloco on the two-way, and it's Blake Henson. They didn't waive the center at Castleton, which is interesting to me. So they have two big centers on two-ways right now in Lakers. The three guys that were on that list were guys I was like, I don't know who the hell any of these guys are. So in some ways, it's an easy move for the Lakers to waive Blake Henson and put Christian Coloco in a two-way right there. Trevor's saying, Lex, is that official jersey for Raptors 30th anniversary? Is all over social media, those two colors. Yeah, when I first saw the two jerseys yesterday, I was like, okay, the purple front black back's bona fide. And we knew this, that all the signs were coming that the jersey we're going to be wearing for our 30th anniversary games is the Vince Carter road jersey with the purple front black back. And the other jersey just looks so crappy in the graphic. I was like, the it's off center. I was like, that can't be the real jersey. That just looks like fan art. But well, it is the real jersey, and I don't mind it. It's growing on me. I like that it has the pinstripes for Kareem. You know, those little jagged pinstripes that we've had in our history on our team from the beginning. The white jerseys with the jagged, like ripped pinstripe look. That's on there with the, of course, the Vince Carter dunking Raptor. And that's pretty cool. Like tomorrow, I think what we'll do is I'm going to go through all of the City Edition jerseys. We'll do a Thursday think tank on what do we think about the different teams' jerseys, because I do have a bunch of them from around the league, and we can look at that tomorrow. But yeah, I was wrong. Once again, Lex has got to say he's wrong. I thought that dunking Raptor logo jersey was not the real jersey, but that was only because the picture they sent out looks so unprofessional and off center. And I was like, yeah, this can't be the real jersey. This just looks like somebody got on Photoshop and threw this together. Maybe make a better prototype and put it out, Raptors, so it looks more real and not like a fan creation. Because that's what threw me. But then I was like, okay, I'm seeing it on web pages with the other city editions for around the league. Okay, that must be bona fide. It must be bona fide then. So I stand corrected, guys. And Kareem, you getting what you wanted. That's right. Kareem saying Lex was right about the jerseys. To me, they are horrendous, but I love the city jersey because they got the pinstripes. That Raptor dunking the ball is something I want to see as part of a new look. I want it just for this year. We're celebrating Vince 1 year. We don't need to ensconce Vince iconography for going forward. I just don't want to do that. We can do it for this year. This is the special celebrate Vince year. And honestly, that logo can be around in places, but it shouldn't be in the forefront. It shouldn't be in the forefront. It can be like the claw logo from before. It can be like the Raptor biting on the basketball, those kind of logos. It can go into that category as a classic logo that we've had and used, but in some ways it doesn't have a lifetime after this in many ways is what I'm saying. But yeah, I don't think that the jerseys are bad. I think that just that picture of that jersey is bad. And that I want to see the real thing with it centered up right and see how it looks, because that jersey's all messed up. It's like they just put the dunking logo on there and it's off to the side. You can see that it's not centered. And that, to an OCD person like me, that is what is pissing me off. Is that all the other city edition jerseys, most of them have it centered in the right way, but that one's off center. It doesn't look right. It doesn't look right. Nako's here. Good to see Gerald. I'm always thrown through a loop when people younger than me have kids. Oh, well, different values. I'll love anything with a purple dinosaur. Well, Gerald, listen, man. Just live your own life and have your own path, and don't worry about what other people's paths are and stuff like that. Everybody has their own milestones and their own different things to do in their life. You could be like Kareem and have a kid at 19. Or you could be like me and you could still have no kids at 49. So it's don't get caught up in comparing yourself or worrying about what other people are doing. Just go on your own path and trust it, Gerald. That's what I would tell you right there. If it's going to happen for you, it'll happen the right way in the right time with the right person. But sometimes it doesn't. And I was married and I thought I was going to have kids, and then we got a divorce. But I'm glad we didn't have kids because I didn't want to talk to my ex-wife ever again. And in some ways, if I had kids, I would have had to continue to talk to her for the rest of my life. So, everything has its blessings and different things. So, Gerald, don't compare yourself to other people's lives. You'll be happier. And honestly, just do your own thing, man. And in some ways, take the benefits of not having kids. Honestly, there's a lot of them. Trust me. I know. Even at this age, there's a lot of great benefits of not having children. And you just go with what naturally is supposed to happen in your life path. If you want kids, go out there and meet somebody and make it happen if you really want to. You make your own life, is what I'm saying. Smooth saying, good morning. I just read that Rogers has reached an agreement to buy Bell's 37.5% interest in MLSE, giving it majority control. This might not bode well for the Raptors at all. I know. I'm very worried about this too, Smooth. This is kind of a curveball. This is not exactly what I was expecting. That Bell's doubling down and they want to be the primary owner. In some ways, I wonder about things with Larry Tenenbaum. The thing with Larry is he's got reelected to the board of governors again as the leader. So he is still ensconced as our figurehead for the ownership in the NBA hierarchy structure. So that when we send a representative to go talk about our team, it's still going to be Larry, even though Ed Rogers in some ways has the most power in our company now at this point. I am worried about this. I have my doubts, but I just read the statement from Rogers, and well, the lip service from them is saying that they're still committed to making sure that we win championships on our Toronto teams. But we can see the track record of the Blue Jays and how they've been run primarily by Rogers and see how successful they've been. And that's worrisome. That's very much worrisome. As long as they value Masai Ujiri and they keep him around our team, well, the Raptors have a chance. But in some ways, Rogers, if he's going to be an asshole and he's going to do something fucked up, well, I could be very mad at Rogers very quickly. So I don't know. Let's wish for the best, Smooth. In some ways, let's make a future that we are visioning in our head that's good and positive, and let's hope that we can take them at what they're saying is for real. Keith Pelly being in charge of our team and the whole MLSE at this point, he's a Rogers guy. Well, he's saying that he's committed to keeping our big superstars and trying to compete and get better and better. Well, let's hope that's not just lip service and just some bullshit that they have to say. Ed Rogers and Keith Pelly, y'all need to be investing and really serious about winning in Toronto. And don't just fucking say it to us. Do it with your actions. And that's what I'm saying. And reinvesting in Masai Ujiri and keeping him around as long as possible is a part of it, at least for the Raptors. So, yeah, Monique is here. Good morning, Raptor Freak crew. Congratulations to Scotty. I want the real confirmation of the jerseys. Sometimes I don't believe what Trevor posts in the chat. Too much fistfights. Well, there is a lot of crap that gets posted in our Facebook chat from time to time that isn't necessary to be brought in there. I think that this one's real, and they came through with it. And I didn't believe it at first, but it's only because of what I said. It looked like such a crappy version of that jersey. They need to center it up and bring out the bling in it, bring out the details in it a little bit more. But yeah, they're real. Apparently, Monique, those will be our two new jerseys this year: the old school purple front, black back, and then the Vince Carter dunking logo Raptor on the front with the black and purple detail with pinstripes, which is what Kareem wanted. So everybody's getting a little bit of what they wanted here in some ways. It could be that the Raptors are going to honor Vince with that jersey, and I don't know what else. Who knows? Nothing's for sure. We'll have to see what he's going to exactly get honored with by our franchise. But the jersey's one of them right there. In some ways, they can make a big deal and say, yeah, we're honoring you with this jersey, this dunking logo jersey. Andrew saying, good morning, everyone. 18 days until Raptors preseason. There you go, Andrew. I love to see that. Hang on. We're getting closer and closer. Hope everyone is having a great week. There you go, Andrew. I appreciate that. Yeah, 18 days. 18 days, Anthony Parker. Yeah, let's go. Monique saying, I got my preseason ticket for Raptors versus Boston, October 15th. So excited. That's awesome. I will probably be going to that game, but I'm not worried about getting a ticket. I know they did pre-sale yesterday, guys, so you can get tickets to our one home game here in Toronto for the preseason against the champion Celtics. I'll probably just go down there and show up. Maybe I'll try and get David and Peter to go with me or something like that. And we'll try and get down there to the game for that first preseason. We'll have to see. Smith saying there's a rumor that Bell wants to buy the Habs. Man, well, they just want to buy everything. I mean, yikes. Well, I mean, that makes some sense in some ways. Who knows? We'll have to see. Larry Smooth saying Larry Tannenbaum is leaving in 2026 or late 2025. Yeah, these are all things that are worrisome for me. They really are. Larry is really one of the most important people championing and doing good things for the Raptors in the leadership and in the ownership roles. And in some ways, that's scary to me. In some ways, Larry Tannenbaum is somebody who protects Masai Ujiri. So this is some ways this is something that was arranged a long time ago because Larry had said he stepped down by a certain age. And well, he's gotten to that age, but he says he feels good. He doesn't want to quit and he wants to hold on and keep working. But other people are telling him, nah, man, you said when you got to this age, you were going to retire and walk off the sunset. But he's kind of like going against it. So it could very well be he was supposed to leave already and he's pushing it back. So we'll just have to see. It's no good. We don't want Tannenbaum to go anywhere because honestly, even if he's very old, he's still a very important integral person in the Raptors and the MLSE for sure. Andrew's saying they're bringing back the purple front black back too. So Scotty's kid is going to be half Canadian. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if he's born, his kid, male or female, is going to be born in Canada, they're going to be Canadian citizen. And yeah, I mean, this isn't a bad thing that Scotty has met a Canadian woman and is having a baby with her. I mean, that can't be a bad thing, right? Could be that Scotty's child is playing for Team Canada at some point later on when they're grown up, either male or female. So who knows? Who knows what's going to happen with all this? We know there's a lot of Raptor babies that are Canadian and American, a lot of dual babies, just like Fred's babies, DeMar's babies, Kyle's babies. They're all dual. In some ways, it's a smart thing for them to do because these these kids will all have a home here also. They'll legally be able to come back to Canada and live here if they ever want to or need to for some reason. I mean, with the U.S. election going on right now and all kinds of crazy shit around the world, having the option to come back and live in Canada for the Raptors kids is an attractive thing. Trust me. So I'm sure Scotty doesn't mind giving more options to his child and being that, but I'm sure that the child will be also American also. That's usually the case with these Raptor kids also is they're dual citizens. They're dual citizens. Yeah, yeah. David's saying card me. All right, David wants to play. He wants to get this done. He may have something he's got to go do. So he wants to go ahead and get that classic card in. The commissioner trivia, David Saborin, is saying, let's see. All right, let's see. Who do we get? All right, yeah, we'll do this one. We'll do this one real quick. It's another mosaic, so it's a little bit of shiny card. Let's see. We're at 9:39 on the chat, so I'll make sure I come back. All right, let's see. Who knows this? You guys can answer in two different names today. In fact, if you give me the other name that's not on this card, I'll be way more impressed. In fact, David, if you can do two winners today, this person has one name in one language and one name in another language. That may give this card away right away, but I want to see who can name the other name from the other country. And if they get that one should be extra points, seriously, because that's pretty impressive. All right, here's the player. It's a mosaic card. If you can tell me who it is in their English name, and if you can tell me in their foreign name, that would be great. I want both their names because there is two names for this player. Let's see. Is that right? That's right. Kyle Anderson is the right player. That is right. That is Kyle Anderson, Bryce. That is his English name. Now, can you guys tell me his other name that he's gone under in the last year or so? Yeah, his Kyle Anderson name in Chinese. What is it? What is Kyle Anderson's name on the Chinese national team? Because he does play for the Chinese national team. What is his Chinese name, guys? Who can remember it? Who can remember his Chinese national name? If you guys can get that, I'm going to give 500 points to whoever can remember it. Anderson de Kyle. That's not how it works, man. That looks like Italian, Kareem. That looks like Italian. Anderson de Kyle. That's not how it works, man. Does anybody remember what his Chinese national team name is? If you can say it right now, 500 points, Raptor Freak Trivia right now. This is really, really big. Yeah, this is really, 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 really big. Big time. Kyle Anderson's right. Slow-mo? No, it's not slow-mo. Slow-mo's his nickname. No, I want his Chinese name. What is the name on his jersey when he plays for China? He played at China at the FIBA World Cup last year. And what was his team? What were they calling him? What was they rocking him? You guys don't know? Nobody will get the points. We'll just move on. David, did you give points for Kyle Anderson yet? So Bryce gets the Kyle Anderson part. Okay, that's half-assing, Andrew. That's half-assing. That is the first part of it. You've got half of it. You got to give me the second part. and then you can get it. But that's half-ass, Andrew. That's half-assing. Oh, look, I can see myself in the TV screen. It's weird. Weird. Okay, yeah. 500 to who? Who's gonna get it? Andrew's got half-assed it. He's got the first part. Lee what? Lee what is what we're saying. What is his Chinese name when he plays for Team China, guys? Lee what? Come on. Lee Kyer. G got it. That's right. It's Lee Kyer. G's going to get the 500 points. Our original Raptor Freak trivia champion. G, season 1 champion on that trophy right there. Getting Lee Kyer. That's right. 500 points for G for getting it. That's exactly right. He was Lee Kyer on China. So, yeah, kind of cool. We had 2 names on the classic car of the day. It's so good. It's so good. Awesome. All right, good stuff. All right, David, there's your card. Thank you for adjudicating. Notco saying, if you're over 20, you're an adult who can make adult decisions. Yeah, I believe that. I mean, younger generations, in some ways, my generation even, we have arrested development in some ways. It's not the same as it used to be. When you turn 18, you're kicked out of the house and you got to do everything all on your own. Well, society is not easy for that to happen at this point. And in some ways, the powers that be are out there that want people to just kind of go on their own right away as an adult. Well, it's tough. And financially, it's not easy. So in some ways, the whole idea of, being an adult, it's not totally the same age anymore. And in some ways, I would say this: people that are in their early 20s are not fully adults. I'm just going to say that right now, partly because unless they are doing it the old school way, seriously, but most of them are not. And it really is an arrested development at this point. It may be that they don't actually become more like adults until later in life, like maybe closer to 30 and stuff like that. So it's an interesting thing, Gerald. And times are changing. I'm not saying it's a good or bad thing. It's just that times are changing, and things happen. Part of it has to do with life expectancy, that we're living longer, we're living older. And in some ways, there's a little bit more of an arrested development before people actually totally grow up at this point. Some people get frustrated and mad about it, but it's just the way it is. Sociologists would tell you that it's just the phenomena of change over time with cohorts and age groups. So it's just how it is. David's saying the chick is a babe, man, and she doesn't look insane. Go Scotty. Yeah, I mean, I think I've seen her on TikTok before any of this. Like, I kind of remember seeing her in shorts or social media before all of this. Like, I don't think it was on TikTok. It may have been on Instagram because I'm not on TikTok. But I remember her face from somewhere and her being like a kind of a social media person. I mean, she has 25,000 followers almost. So it's not like she got a following on her own just from her travel TikToks and her animal TikToks, and especially with Scotty's dogs. And this is the thing: there's a subsection of Raptors fans that have been following her for already because they knew Scotty's dogs were on her account. So in some ways, she's been out in public, right out in front of us as Scotty's girl, even though we didn't know it. Because there were people following her for months now just to get the dog content of Scotty's dogs. And they knew that she was the one handling his dogs. That, you see Cece and Cardi in her TikToks, and you're like, yeah, this is Scotty's lady, because honestly, he's going to let her be having his dogs and her TikTok. I mean, that's a big deal right there. That's a big deal. Randolph saying, good morning, beloved Raptor freaks. Most informative gang, blessings. May we use every opportunity given to us today to elevate as many people to a better, more productive place in life. That's awesome. I love that, Randolph. What a great word of wisdom and a great advice. It's like, let's try and build up and pull and push people up and bring up spirits. I like that. Andrew's saying, when the dad strength comes, it's over for the league. You keep saying that. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Dad strength is interesting. We'll have to see what happens. Kareem's saying at David, she's insane. I seen her TikTok. She's actually ate ice cream off the ground, but we are insane in our own special way. Well, she's goofy. She's fun. I know she probably makes Scotty laugh a lot. In some ways, she's got really interesting, like, how TikTok people do like voiceovers, like there'll be an Ellen clip and she's like doing the part with Ellen and stuff like that. There's a lot of that kind of dramatics and acting out in some of her stuff. Some of it's very creative. Some of it's very fun. So yeah, I can see why Scott likes her, because his sense of humor and the things that he was laughing at on Twitch and stuff, she kind of falls in line with all that. So yeah, she's goofy. And she's definitely, like I said, she's not pretentious. That's one of the great things. And in some ways, she's not like some bougie woman, gold digger that's going after NBA players either. She seems very down to earth. Let's just put it that way. And kind of, in some ways, she's just wholesome. She's just wholesome. I guess that's the right word for it. Randolph saying, Lex, Rogers communication to buy out Bell's share. Yeah, that's the breaking news this morning, Randolph. I kind of went on about that already this morning. Smooth saying, well, she found an NBA player set for life. Set for life. If Scotty is smart, there's a prenup in place. Yeah, I don't know if they're. I don't know what. And once again, this is none of our business. I'm sure Scotty and his management and his people will figure this out correctly. I'm sure she's aware of this. I think that in some ways she's not really that kind of person. I think that she comes from affluence already. It's not like she was hurting already. She's probably all right on her own. So I don't know. I don't know enough about her to say that, like, oh, she's going to be one of these money grubbers and going to try and lock in and get like as much. I'm sure she's going to be set for life. You're exactly right. But there's different levels of greed. Is like, is she going to be kind of one of these people that's like, I want half or that kind of stuff? We'll just have to see. It's probably not likely. It's probably not likely. She seems like she's a very reasonable person. And in some ways, she didn't seem like she was really like interested in having a kid until just now. Like, if you look at her TikToks and stuff, this is kind of a very out of the blue kind of development, but it's like, let's go with it. She seems like that kind of person that she's kind of like been living life and enjoying it and just letting opportunities come to her. And it's not that she seeked this out. This just kind of naturally happened. And that, she's going with it. I mean, hell, if you got pregnant by an NBA superstar, all-star, top player in the league, you're not unhappy about it, I'm sure. But also, who knows how much this was actually like connived by her? Seriously, I don't think it was. I think this is very organic what happened here. Very, very organic. Let's see. David's saying prenup for a kid. Isn't that marriage stuff? Yeah, I don't think that I once again, I think that the idea that they're getting married is maybe off the table, guys, because a lot of these guys don't want to get married these days in some ways because they've heard the horror stories of divorce and all this kind of stuff. And there may be a very much a arrangement that's made that's kind of like a prenuptial agreement, even though there's no nuptials. So we'll have to see. I may be completely wrong though, and Scotty does want to marry her, and that they're going to get married, and she's going to be his wife, but there's no guarantees. And once again, this is private life. In some ways, I'm speculating something I'm not totally comfortable talking about on this channel, but it is a big deal and it is a big news for Raptors Nation. So in some ways, we do have to cover it to an extent. Now, I'm not even saying her name on the stream today because in some ways, I want to respect her privacy and his privacy as far as like how they may want to do this. So, but in some ways, I'm also talking a lot about her and speculating, but I want to be fair. I want to be fair here. And in some ways, once again, this channel is for clearing the air and kind of cleaning the toxicity. And there is some toxicity around this announcement by Scotty. There's a lot of people showing their ass and saying stupid shit. And in some ways, it's not right, especially if they're being derisive of her or even thinking like Scotty's an idiot for letting this happen. Listen, everybody who thinks this age gap is a problem, you're idiots. First of all, you're idiots. Some of y'all are probably just young, and that's what the problem is. Oh, he got locked down by a 32-year-old. That's not old, y'all. Let me just put it that way. That's not old. And all y'all youngsters that think 32 is old, you're going to have a harsh awakening when you get to 32 and you realize, holy crap, this isn't that old. But why do all these 20-year-olds think I'm old now? Yeah. You youngsters, the smarter you'll be, the more you understand age is just a number. And that, like, looking at the 9-year age difference between Scotty and this woman is silly. It's silly. In some ways, it benefits him that she's much older than him. Trust me, it benefits him. In some ways, Scotty likes to have people around him that help guide him, whether it's people like Jonathan Mobo, Brian Macon, his manager, Nick. In some ways, she's a very caring, nice person towards him. She can help him not have problems by being that kind of person and kind of looking out for him. So that's the way it looks like to me right now. Andrew saying maybe the off-centerness will look better with the number on it. Maybe, but I think it's just that they did a poor job of that graphic. I think that the jersey in person with it right and centered will look great. It's just that picture looks so tacky. The one that they made for it, the prototype picture. Center the fucking logo, Raptors. You're going to put out that city edition with the Vince Carter dunking Raptor. Center the fucking logo on the jersey, please.
My OCD is like, that jersey sucks because it's too far over to the right. And I can tell it's not centered. If you put that number on there in the corner, maybe it will balance it, Andrew. You might be right. You might be right. Andrew's saying a lot of the new jerseys are kind of bad. I think Toronto has some of the best ones. Well, we'll look at them tomorrow. That'll be the Thursday think tank for tomorrow. Let's look at City Edition jerseys, and maybe we'll roast a couple of them. Maybe we'll roast a couple of them, and I'll talk more extensively about my thoughts on the Toronto ones, of course. Let's see. Cool Cat is here. Good morning, Raptor Freak crew. Just connected. So I'm at the start of the session. Countdown is on. There you go. 18 more days, and the Raptors will play the Wizards in Montreal at the Bell Center. We are counting it down. That's right. G's saying the buyout is a way for Larry to leave. Looks like he is all in on the WNBA and setting up his family as he ages. Man, he doesn't have to worry about setting up his family. He has set up his family like 50 years ago. He's not worried about setting up his family. No. Larry Tenenbaum ain't never been worried about that. Now, also, we got to understand Larry is the owner, and in some ways, he is getting older and he is kind of retiring. And, even though he's involved with Kilmer Group and Teresa Resch and the new WNBA team, don't expect him to be so hands on. He may only be like the owner and kind of in the back, and he may not be as active in doing things, especially because the board of governors work for the NBA. He may be doing the board of governors work for the WNBA also. So that's really kind of his sphere of influence and what he's doing at this point. But I think that it's Teresa's baby as far as the WNBA team. And she's going to be the figurehead one in charge and the one who's really all in on that. And in some ways, Larry is just a benefactor. He's the person who's behind the scenes, and he's the one who's helping financially. But I wouldn't say that he's going to be working too hard on doing certain things and stuff like that. Now, the part of him leaving MLSE is because that, once again, was arranged years ago. Like 10 years ago, they made an agreement that Larry would leave at a certain age, and he's gotten to that age already. He's pushed past it and hung around longer than he was supposed to, just so y'all know. Blackhawk saying, I don't get why Tenenbaum can't keep some shares in MLSE while he takes on the WNBA. He can. And he probably will on the down low. I don't know. I think you're getting confused on this, Blackhawk. I think that what's going to happen is that Larry may not be the main leader of the ownership group because he's the kind of the minority vote in between the two split in half, Bell and Rogers. With Bell selling to Rogers, that means Ed Rogers has got the majority of the team now. And in some ways, Larry Tenenbaum being the small minority owner in between the two huge corporate companies is gone. And in some ways, his power as the deciding vote is gone. And in some ways, that it's all decided by by Rogers now. That Rogers being in charge and having the whole stake is that. Now, it could still mean that Tenenbaum is still in the ownership group and owns a stake in the team. It's just that he doesn't have the power he used to have as the deciding vote. So I think I haven't heard anything about Larry selling his stakes in the team in MLSC. He may still have his percentage, even if he's not as powerful in the ownership group as far as deciding things. So, yeah, I don't think he's selling the shares. Bell is what we're saying. We're not saying that Larry's selling his shares yet. We're saying that Bell is. But, I mean, there's also been talk that they would sell his shares. He would sell his shares when he steps down or something like that. So maybe that is still going to happen at the end of it all. But we'll see. We'll see. Cool Cat saying, regarding Scotty, I really wish we had the young vets of OG and Siakam. The dog person might be affiliated as a Raptors contact since Cardi days. New contracts have bills. Laugh out loud. Back to basketball. Everybody's saying that the vets failed Scott, and some people are saying this and that. I'm like, no, come on, man. He's his own person. He's a young man, and he can make his own decision. This does come from totally left field. This is not what we expected this week, that there would be baby news surrounding our great Scott. But it is what it is. In some ways, we go with the flow, and we allow the young man to live his life and just support him, honestly. I'm not upset about this news at all. I don't think this is irresponsible. I think the young man has he's just got a huge contract extension. He's financially going to be great for the rest of his life. So why not do what he wants to do? In fact, I really do believe partly he may be too late because he's 23, but in some ways, if he could hang around 20 more years, maybe he could play with his son in the NBA if he has a son. That's the other thing. That may be part of it. Is like he's looking at LeBron. He's like, damn, I wish I had a kid when I was a teenager because maybe I could have be playing with my son down the road in the NBA right near before I retire. It's easy for people to see the Bron and Bronny thing and be like, well, Bron's that's so cool. I want to do that. I want to do that. I think that may have a factor in this to a degree, guys. I'm serious. I'm not totally sure if she is somebody who is caring for Cardi and Cece, but that very well could be the way that he was introduced to her. It could very well be that Scotty went out to Guelph to take Cardi to boarding and training, obedience training, and she was somebody that was out there at the place where he took the dogs. And that, in some ways, Scotty is not like totally out there trying to let himself be out there for people to meet and kind of come up to and talk to. So it may be very organic how they met and very innocent, honestly. It may be very, very innocent also. Yeah. David's saying, wouldn't he have enough shares to keep Messiah alive anyway? Most likely. I don't know. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. And let's wish the best and think the best with Rogers taking a majority ownership over MLSE. Let's wish for the best. But I mean, we've seen the signs too, like where Messiah says, I'll be here as long as y'all want me to be here. And I'm worried about that. I worry about that because we do know Ed Rogers has been very critical of Masai Ujiri at times. They've apparently buried the hatchet and they're a good place right now. So hopefully that is what will continue, and that maybe Ed Rogers, in some ways, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, Ed Rogers, and that you will protect and continue to understand that winning for the Raptors and doing well is centered around Masai Ujiri being in charge. So hopefully he's smart. He's a smart businessman, and he understands the investment in Ujiri is not a bad one, because not only are you doing great things for the Raptors and keeping them competitive with really good leadership in the front office, but also you're helping a philanthropist build a sport in 2 continents, not just here in Canada, but over on the continent of Africa. And there's a lot of good stuff in that too, Rogers. So yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see what's up. Let's keep going. Blackhawks saying Masai will always come out on top. Believe me, I agree with this too. No matter what happens to him, he's that kind of graceful person that can take care of circumstances and come through it better in the end. And whatever happens to him, well, he's going to be celebrated. There needs to be a movie about Masai Ujiri at some point. Seriously, there needs to be a movie about his life and just what has happened with him, because he's an amazing story. He's a very, very amazing story. It is a movie type story, is what I would say right here. Cool Cat saying there's more money and growth for the WNBA, so Larry's investment is perfect timing. Yeah, I mean, this was already talked about from before, but this really doesn't have to do with the current story right now. I mean, Larry invested in the WNBA earlier this year and stuff like that. I mean, it's going to be great. The WNBA is going to blow up more and more, and yeah, this is a really good investment. I agree with it, but this kind of doesn't have to do with the Bell thing today. Let's see. We got the classic card of the day. Both names. Gee, I'm really impressed that you got Lee Kyer. That is really, really good. Blackhawks saying Larry Tannenbaum is our Larry O'Brien. Yeah, I mean, we know. I really don't want to see these gentlemen go away from the Raptors. I really, really don't, because they are so essential and important to us, for sure. For sure. Lee Kyer, there you go. 500 a G. That's so awesome. Monique is saying, Casey Bannerman, if you're reading this, keep up the great work and your design jersey. Well, that'd be cool if Casey Bannerman checks me out from time to time. This is what I'll say. Casey Bannerman met up with T-Mac yesterday. Tracy McGrady. It's on his Instagram account. He was giving Tracy some jerseys. He was showing him, he made like a magic sequin jersey, kind of like the Grady one with all the sequins. And then he had a Houston Rockets #1 with the kind of the stenciled in dunking image on top of it of T-Mac. And then he had the Vince Carter one that he made recently. And Casey's talking to Tracy. He's like, I need to try and get this to Vince. And Tracy says to him, well, you could give it to me and I'll give it to him. He said, really? He's like, yeah, I'll give it to you. Here you go. And Tracy's like, I'm going to see him on Sunday, so I'll give him this jersey. So Tracy McGrady's going to hand deliver Vince Carter, Casey Bannerman custom to Vince Carter for Casey, is what we saw on the Instagram yesterday. Andrew saying, I was trying to put the full thing, but the timer leak higher. That's right. Randolph got it too. I love to see Randolph participating in the classic card of the day and putting in the leak higher. That's right. Leak higher. That's right. Carlos here. Good to see Carlo JS, one of the great Raptor freaks. Good morning, Lex and fellow freaks. How do we feel about Big Eddie Rogers owning majority of LMLSE? It's scary. It's a little dubious. Maybe AJ Griffin's right. It's the end of times. I don't know. I mean, in some ways, we just got to go with the flow, man. We got to love our team through whatever happens. In some ways, it could be dark days. It could be that we're going to go into a really bad era where it's going to be really bad. But I don't want to forecast that. I want to forecast the best things. I want to forecast the best things. Scotty happy. Scotty happy with his new baby here. Scotty happy on the Raptors. Scotty winning Larry O'Brien's here in Toronto. Scotty going forward and just having the best career here, along with RJ, Emmanuel, Jakob, Grady, Davion, all the rest of them. So that's what I want. I want good success for the Raptors, good things happening. Coach Rajakovic getting more respect and more wins over time. Masai Ujiri's security in his job being very secure, and good things happening with that too. There's all kinds of things I wish for this team, but in some ways, the news this morning is a little scary. And I don't want this to be a day where we look back and think, oh, wow, that day when Rodgers bought out Bell is when things started to go bad. I don't want that. I don't want that. Keith Pelly, be good to our teams and do things that help us win championships. Don't just be lip service. In some ways, the lip service of MLSE and Rodgers about Toronto sports team winning has exactly been lip service at times, other than the Toronto 2019 championship and what Blue Jays World Series in the 90s. So in some ways, it's scary because Rodgers does not have a good track record with winning in their sports teams. And that's the scary thing about it right there. David's saying that's when it's time to jump ship. That guy's an absolute moron and a prick. I mean, I'm not going to dispute with this, but in some ways, we got to be kind of hoping that he'll be a good person. In some ways, he's a person like Trump. He has a lot of Trump kind of mentalities, and that's scary. That is very, very scary. Blackhawk saying, why does that dumpling mofo need to own majority of MLSE anyways? He's such a roly-poly. Oh, that's such a weird insult. I'm going to give you a dunk for it, Blackhawk. I've never heard somebody call somebody a roly-poly. That's pretty funny. All right, 56 dunks for our guy Blackhawk. Thank you, Neil. Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't want to insult Ed Rodgers. In some ways, I have in the past. I've gone off on him. I've cussed him out. But right now, the piece is there with him and Masai. I don't want to mess with that. And in some ways, if Ed Rodgers III, is being very kind and nice and working with Masai Ujiri in the right ways, then let's just keep it that way. Let's hope it stays that way. But in some ways, we are at his mercy in some ways, which is too bad. Andrew's saying, do you think RJ will be our leading scorer again this year? Yes. Yes, I do think that. And I think it's partly because Scott likes to play point guard and Scott likes to distribute. But I mean, it could be totally wrong. It could be IQ. It could be Scotty also. I think the top three candidates for this are the barbecue. And it really is going to see, we'll have to see how it goes. But RJ's the likely choice. RJ is the likely leading scorer for our team because that's his game. And in some ways, those other guys love feeding him. And he's a money guy, like as far as going to the basket and laying it up over people. And even his outside shot is getting more consistent and going down more regularly. So I would say that you're probably right, Andrew, that Mr. Barrett, RJ Barrett of the 905 region, for coming from there, is going to be our leading scorer this year again. Davis saying, no, Grady Dick. So you think Grady will be the leading scorer? Well, that could be possible, but that's a long shot. I will just say that. RJ's established as a good scorer in the NBA already, and Grady has not established that yet, David. So that's why I say that's a long shot, what you're saying. David said, I'm telling you, that man is going to go fucking berserk this season. Well, there's no precedent yet. And that's the thing. It's consistency. And in some ways, we've seen RJ Barrett come every single game with a certain level of consistency to be able to score. And we've seen Grady Dick in a rookie year, only one rookie year, have half a year where he played well. And in those games that he played well, there were other games mixed in between where he didn't do jack shit too. So, David, I'm not going to agree with you because I don't think this is probably likely, is what I'm going to say. It's a consistency and a track record. And RJ has way more body of work built up than Grady. So this is not necessarily a good prediction. Andrew saying CBS Sports ranked Scotty as the 42nd best player in the league behind players like Derek White, Porzingis, Jalen Williams, Jamal Murray, and McHale, who are all non-All-Stars. I mean, the only one on that list that I could say is better than Scotty possibly is Jamal Murray. Mikal Bridges is a weird one. I mean, he's pretty good, but he's getting overvalued now more and more because he's on New York. And a lot of people are saying he could be like having the addition to the Knicks like Drew Holiday had for the Celtics and put them over the top to be championship contenders. Yeah, I don't see that. In some ways, Drew Holiday did that for the Celtics because there's nobody on the Celtics that was like him. There's guys that are on the Knicks that are like Mikal Bridges, and he's not adding anything that's too unique to things. In some ways, you could say OG and him are very, very similar in some ways. So I don't get that. Porzingis and White are definitely and not better, and so is Jalen Williams, and those are insults for sure. For sure. Blackhawks saying you can only get half through divorce. I ain't heard of any weddings, so half ain't on the table. Yeah, I mean, this is a lot of these NBA players on the down low will have arrangements with their baby mamas, and it'll be kind of like, this is the allowance for you and the baby to help take care of the baby. And they do kind of stuff like that. It's like a child support or something like that, especially if they're estranged and they're not talking anymore and they still have the baby and stuff like that. They have to help take care of the baby. So there will be an allowance or a salary of some sort for that person in that situation. But yeah, if you're not married, then it's like the stake to have. And really, the stake to have is only if the person has been around their life while they were building up and they were a part of the foundation of why they're the success that they are. If they're a Johnny come lately, just a Jill come lately, and they just came into the player's life in the last couple of years, and then they're trying to turn around and say, I should get half your stuff. No, no, no. Because you weren't there when they were little kids and they were in high school and they were in college and they were building themselves up to get the NBA. If you just showed up after they got in the NBA and they're already an all-star, nah, you're a gold digger. And you had nothing to do with their success and how they earned that money, is what I would say right there. Yeah. Yeah, let's see. Trevor's saying the WNBA added a 15 team in Portland. That's right. Announced again. Another big news bombshell this morning. The Portland area is going to get a WNBA franchise added also. So now 15 teams added. Toronto, Golden State, Portland, the three new teams. There's going to be a fourth one. They're not going to leave it odd. There's going to be another team that's going to be announced in the next couple months. So get ready for that. There'll be a fourth team added. And I think it may be Philadelphia, guys, to be honest. I'm starting to think and look around, and the market that does not have a WNBA team is Philly. So I think Philly might be the fourth team that gets added in the next one. Yes, G saying Scotty returned his few $100 shirt. Think he'll be fine. Yeah, yeah. In some ways, she may have a lot of the sensibilities that Scott has, and they're like ballers on a budget. And in some ways, Scotty is savvy financially. He does really think about finances. I mean, you can go watch his Twitch channel and you'll have to watch a few ads. But I just say it, like, in some ways he's very going to be very smart with his money, and also he's very protective of himself. I'd be very shocked if he got kind of like in a bad place financially with this woman. I'd be very, very shocked. So if there's young Raptors fans out there worried about Scotty and his financials because of this situation with this baby, I would just assuage your fears and say I wouldn't worry about this. I seriously wouldn't. Yeah, Andrew's brought up the birthday for today. There's two birthdays today, but yeah, today is Serge Ibaka's birthday, guys. So happy birthday to Serge Ibaka, NBA champion with the Toronto Raptors. We love you, Serge, and you continue to play really, really, really well out there in Europe and with the different teams jumping around from leagues out there. He's been in Spanish league, German league. He's all over the place. So I'm really, really happy about Serge. And we're going to say happy birthday to Serge Ibaka right now. And also, guys, happy birthday to Amari Moore, guys. Amari Moore, 905 player, current 905 player. It's his birthday today, too. He's 24 today. So happy birthday to Amari Moore and Serge Ibaka. Serge Ibaka is turning 35 right now. I believe he's 35. Is that right? Yeah, 35. Serge Ibaka, 35 today. Yeah, I thought Serge is older, right? He's only 35 today, guys. All right, let's keep going. David is saying the fact she is a bit older is amazing and a good thing. Y'all be tripping if you think otherwise. Yeah. I mean, it's a younger perspective, David. Us old guys are like, yeah, 32 is really young. And like, that's not a weird age group. I mean, we could do the age rule, which is half her age plus 7. So half her age, she's 32. So 16 plus 7, 23. So she's exactly hitting her floor for how young she should be dating. 23 is the youngest she should be dating. So that's fine. That's fine. And of course, she clears his. His is like what? 22, the 20, 11 and a half plus 7, 18 and a half. So Scotty can date 18 and a half year olds. Meanwhile, she can date 23-year-olds. If you were doing the rule, the age rule and how you break it down. So dunk for Andrew. Yeah, we'll give Andrew a dunk real quick. Andrew's been on fire lately as a Raptor freak. 89 dunks for you, Andrew, on the dunk chart at this point. Stargate's here. Well, at least he isn't Jalen Green. Yeah, that situation is way different. We got to understand. Jalen Green had a baby with a woman who already had a baby with another NBA player already. And I think she's had like 3 babies with NBA players at this point. So she's got a whole roster, like I'm saying. And she's one of those ones that I'm talking about that is a very much a predator of NBA and players and athletes. There are women like this. I'm not going to lie. We know there's women like this, and they lurk around airport lounges and hotel lounges and around the games, and at the baddies at the sidelines of the games and stuff like that. Well, this woman that Scotty got it pregnant is not those kind of women. I'm going to say that right now. She really isn't that kind of woman. And Jalen Green, well, he got one of those women. So it's not the same. It's not the same. And everybody's just jumping in conclusions that Scotty's situation is the same as his friend Jalen Green's situation. You're wrong. You are wrong. That's right. Neil's saying, I had my son when I was 20. He's 33 now, and we get along great. Have them young. There you go. If you get that chance, go with it. In some ways, it's good to be responsible when you have your kids and have a good like setup to financially be able to take care of them and stuff like that. Sometimes people have kids by mistake really young, and she really doesn't change their life in the right way. It was too soon. But it's great to hear that we have some Raptor freaks in this chat that have had children when they were very young, and it's all worked out really great. I'm happy about that. But yeah, you want to be responsible with your planned parenthood. And in some ways, hey, if you can get away with it, if you found the right person, if you're lucky enough to find the right person you want to be with for the rest of your life that young, well, good for you. That in some ways is more impressive to me than having the kids, because anybody can go out and get kids and have kids and make kids. But if they're, finding the right person to do it with, that's so hard to me. And in some ways, that's been one of the biggest problems for me, is finding the right person to be with, because most people, I've dated, they don't last, or it's just not the right situation. So we'll just put it that way. Let's see. Cool Cat's saying, love to see Raptors give a birthday shout out to Serge. Yeah, they're more on top of the birthdays now all of a sudden. I wonder why. Raptors admin, you've been watching Raptors Streak Channel and seeing me do birthday thunder all the time for Raptors in the past. And now all of a sudden, y'all are coming around and celebrating Raptors past birthdays all over the place like crazy on there. In fact, they're posting them before I go on live now to make sure that they're not behind. There was a curve this summer where I would do a birthday, and then I'd see like 30 minutes after I did my stream, oh, there's the Raptors admin putting out a birthday to that person I celebrated on the stream before. So I think that they're doing this partly maybe because they were influenced by me, that they're getting the birthdays out more on point for past Raptors. They've always done this kind of stuff, but they haven't been so on top of it as much until recently, is what I'm saying right now. Stargate saying Larry is setting it up to buy out the Raptors from MLSE. I want the Raptors as far away from MLSE, Rogers, and the Leafs as possible. I'm with you. I wish that this was true, but I don't know if this is true, Stargate. And the news today is weird. I guess it would be easier to buy it from just one of them. And in some ways, this is kind of the right steps towards that. As far as like, all right, get Bell out. That's great. In some ways, this is a good thing today. Even if it's scary that Rogers has controlling interest, is that, all right, one of the telecommunications giants is out. Bell is going to be out. And in some ways, that's good, because now if Larry did want to try and negotiate to get the teams, like Stargate's saying, he only has to deal with one of them. And if Rogers is with it, well, maybe this could work out this way. I hope you're right, Stargate, but I don't think this is probably likely. Unfortunately, but it would be amazing. But it is true. It's more conducive and easier to buy from one big major corporation than two that own a similar share of the same corporation. So yeah, it is what it is. We'll have to see. Andrew's saying Scotty seems like he'd be a great dad. He'd probably be a really fun dad, like a really goofy, playful dad. I would probably see that. Blackhawk saying, let Rogers keep the Leafs and take them elsewhere. Yeah, it's weird. In some ways, I would have thought that, like, if one of them was going to buy each other out, it would have been the other way. That Bell would have bought Rogers out. But I guess that's not true. And part of it is that Bell's going through some issues right now. I cut off my Bell last week. These punk ass motherfuckers. You know how hard it is to discontinue your account with Bell? They won't listen to you. They're like, I would like to close down all my Bell accounts, please. And they're like, no. What? Oh, are you sure you really want? Why do you want to leave? Well, we could give you this offer instead and do this. No, you don't want to leave. Why do you want to not pay us $100 for nothing every month? Well, I do, and I've left, and I'm with a different company now. and I have another phone. But apparently my Bell phone is still functional because these motherfuckers didn't listen to me when I called them, even though I sat on hold for half an hour and said, I want to cancel my Bell account. Okay, we'll do that right away, sir. Well, why the fuck is my phone still working 5 days later? So yeah, I'm gonna call them again today. I'm gonna say, you kill this motherfucking bitch phone right now because I'm not paying any more bills to y'all. And if you send me one, I'm gonna say I cancel with y'all on September the 13th already. And why the fuck are you still sending me bills? I'm not a customer of y'all's anymore. I said, be gone. Be gone. And I'm like, oh, okay. All right. Maybe I cancel Bell. And now all of a sudden, oh, Raptors Free cancel with us. We're going to sell our stock and our ownership in the Raptors now. Good. Good. I want to make my life Bell free and Rogers free if I can. That's right. That's right. Right there. Yeah. Andrew's saying, did y'all see apparently Ben Simmons is back to playing at an all-star level? I call BS. Where is he even playing? I don't even know what team he's on at this point. He's such a loser. He's still on the Nets, isn't he? He's still on the Nets, right? I don't even fucking know who he plays for. It's like, Ben Simmons, just give it up. Y'all can bring out this bullshit every single summer saying Ben Simmons this, Ben Simmons that. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. That goofy ass motherfucker is going to be sitting on the bench talking about how he's not ready to play still. Watch. Blackhawks saying we got a TFC championship too. Yeah, I mean, I don't pay enough attention to the soccer team in some ways. Yeah, we did win a championship with the TFC at some point. That's for sure. Andrew saying, and the Leafs made it out the first round. Yeah, last year. And well, it wasn't, yeah, it still sucked because the next round was absolute disaster. But it is what it is. I mean, Stanley Cup since what, the 60s? Come on, man. You can't tell me that some people know how to run sports in MLSC. Masai Ujiri is the only one who knows how to win in that company. Seriously, right now. Blackhawks laughing with Andrew. Carlos saying, one thing I can say positively is at least the Jays spend as much as any other MLB team. So that's that. Well, that's good. So they do have the money invested. It's just that they're sorry at their job and cannot make the right management decisions. Okay, well, if they're giving us the money to invest with the Raptors and Masai's in charge with Bobby, well, we'll make better decisions with the money. I just want them to invest in winning when the time is right. I understand right now is not the time because we're rebuilding. We got young players. We got to see how we build up. But at the point when it's time to strike and we're ready to go for another Larry O'Brien, don't be holding them purse strings, Ed Rogers III. Let them go for it and let us invest in a big money veterans to take us to the top and put us over the top to get the next second championship for the Raptors here in Toronto, NBA champions. Once again, Ed Rogers, you know how fun that was, that parade and getting to sit on stage with Masai Ujiri and Justin Trudeau and all them. You get up there again and do it again, Ed Rogers. And you know what? Honestly, if you could get us there and you're a part of it, I will start celebrating you like I celebrate Larry Tenenbaum, like I celebrate Masai Ujiri. It's just not, seriously, we can be friends here. It's just that you need to be allowing the Raptors to be competitive by not holding back financials on them. That's the one thing I would say right there. And thank you, Carlo, for your comment. That makes me feel a little better. It's just that they have a shitty front office for the Blue Jays. Blackhawks saying, actually, McHale was standing out on the Nets with no one else standing out on the Knicks. He will probably be a role player. Exactly. In some ways, we could go back and look at Mikal Bridges on the Suns. And, he wasn't even though he was kind of one of the best all-around players on that team, he wasn't really the superstar there. He never really was. He's, it's funny because he dissed OG and said OG's just a role player. Well, now you're teammates with him. And honestly, you're more of a role player than he is. You always were all along. In some ways, we could say OG, yeah, his role is to be a defensive stopper. Sure. But in some ways, it's kind of insulting when you call somebody just a role player. Like when they Dominique Wilkins recently called Scottie Pippen the greatest role player in the history of the NBA. I was like, that's an insult, man. That's not actually nice because in some ways, Scottie Pippen, even though he played with Jordan, even though he looked like a role player next to Jordan, he's not a role player. That's an all-around great player in the league. And in some ways, the word role player is kind of a loaded insult for players, honestly. Yeah, Mikal, you're a role player next to OG. If I'm going to pick between the two of y'all on the Knicks, who's more of a role player? You, motherfucker. You are more of a role player than OG Anunoby is what I'm going to say right there. Yeah. Let's see. Andrew's saying Mikal was supposed to have a breakout year last year, but he never really did. He's similar to OG where he's more valuable as a role player than with less touches. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the Nets were a mess anyway. He's going to get ignored there. He did fine on that team, but that team was losing so much. that they're not going to get any spotlight or he's not going to get any credit. So that's just how it is. Brian's here. Good to see Brian from To The Point. Y'all check out his YouTube channel, T.O. The Point. Great basketball Raptors channel talking about Canada basketball and the Raptors extensively. Brian, what's up to you, man? What's up, Freak Nation? Hope y'all are having a good day. Back at you, my guy, Mr. Jerry West, 44. That's right. Blackhawk saying Scotty is practical. He gave his mother a Chrysler Jeep instead of a Mercedes. No need to worry about money with him. That's right. That's right. I mean, I listen, I'm not worried for Scott. Scott's got good people around him guiding him. He's got good guidance, and he's a smart guy himself. And he understands what's best for him in his heart. And listen, this is a great thing for him. In some ways, it shows that he is very much excited about this because of his comments on that picture. The stream picture is a real picture of his hand on her pregnant belly. And he's in the comment section. He said, our life, our life. So it's not like he's trying to keep this a secret. And it's not like he's shunning this whole thing. It's not like he's acting like this was a mistake. This sounds like he's very on board and he's excited about the new phase in his life coming up. So that's what I say right there. That's a totally different kind of thing than, I made a mistake. I got this woman pregnant and I don't even want to acknowledge it. Karl Malone. Yeah. So anyway, Blackhawk saying Mikhail will be OG's backup. I think that you're right. I think you're right. I mean, who's the fuck is going to start for the Knicks? They could probably start all forwards and no center because they have to at some point. OG's going to be playing center, guys. I know he will. I know that they're going to have to play Anunoby at center in New York this year, and it's going to be a disaster. It's going to be an absolute disaster. You fucked up, Knicks. Once again, going to get Mikal Bridges this summer and letting Hartenstein walk, that was a fuck up. You had the right mix of the right players last year. You had the good things going. You're going to find out. You tinkered with it. You mess with something that ain't broke. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Don't fix something that ain't broke. Just let it be and ride with it. You should have let it ride. In some ways, you messed up your chemistry that you had from last year that was really successful. And you're going to find that out this year. In some ways, you're going to struggle in weird ways because of switching out Mikal Bridges for Isaiah Hartenstein. You're going to find that out, Knicks Nation. It was so dumb. I don't even understand why they did that. Trevor's saying, Lex, I'm doing my early voting today, so I don't have to wait until November. There you go, Trevor. Trevor is exercising his right to vote in the U.S. election. And he's making sure his vote gets counted and he's putting it in. I'm proud of you, Trevor. That's the right thing to do. As an American citizen, you get the right to vote. And a lot of people fought for your right to vote, died for it. So you need to honor them by going to the polls and making your voice and choice heard. So I commend you, Trevor J., for getting out there and early voting. And I will be getting my ballot in the mail and I will be mailing it back soon myself. That's right. Andrew's saying, I think they will both start. Brunson, OG, Mikal, Hart, and Robinson will be the starting lineup. I think you got too many Villanova Wildcats in that starting lineup. What about Julius Randle? Come on now. Isn't Julius Randle still on that team? At least right now he is. I would say it's Brunson, OG, Mikal, Randle, and Robinson. I think Josh Hart is a bench player. I think that Josh Hart is a bench player. Let's see. Smooth saying, hopefully there's love between the two of them and not just man, not just lust, man. I would say this. Smooth. You got to understand, if you've seen this woman, you've seen what her TikTok's like and how goofy she is, there's definitely more than just lust. She's very goofy. She's very, very goofy. She has a very funny sense of humor. She's very not totally serious. And in some ways, Scotty loves that kind of shit. He loves that kind of shit. So I'm sure they share a lot more than just physical attraction and like lust, as you put it. I think that they connect on a couple different areas, just so you know. And Smith saying, let's get you in all kinds of problems. I think that this isn't something that just happened randomly and like abruptly. I think this is somebody that Scotty's known for a few years now and that this slowly developed like this. So I wouldn't say that this is something that just like out of the pocket, some woman just came in his life and bang, 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 now she's pregnant. No, I think that he's known her for pretty much since he's been in Toronto for the most part, and that it slowly has developed like this. So I would tell you right now, if it is a lust thing, she's too goofy for it to be just purely lust. Trust me. There's a lot of laughs. There's a lot of pure heart in it too. I'll bet you. Trevor's saying, I married when I was 22 and I had my firstborn at 23. There you go. See, I mean, I'm not mad at young dads. If you guys are lucky enough to get that to happen, my time's passed. That'll never happen for me. But, hey, you guys have had, now Trevor's got a 7'3" son. That's awesome, man. Andrew's saying, I'm 20 right now. I'll probably wait until my late 20s, early 30s to have my first kid. I'll say this, Andrew. We can all have plans to do this, but nothing's set in stone because I said the same things as you. So if you want that future, you need to work towards it. I was working towards it, but my alcoholism derailed my dream of having a family. So I've let it go. At this point, I'm perfectly happy being childless and not really having a family. But there was, when I was your age, that's what my goal was too, and was going to try and do this. So Andrew, there's nothing guaranteed. You need to go for it. Just trust it from me. And in some ways, get the right person. Because if you don't get the right person, and if you're not okay yourself, you will fuck it all up like I did. So just so you know, if you have God forbid any of us on here has an alcohol problem like I do, if you do have an alcohol problem, fix that before you start to have a family. Just trust me on this, okay? If you do have certain problems, because that's what totally derailed my family planning and me having a kid, is my drinking. So yeah, you want to have these kind of things happen on certain timelines and stuff like that. That'd be great. I wish that for you, Andrew. I really do. Blackhawks saying Ben is playing for his next contract, but teams would be stupid to give him a max deal. Okay, so is he not under contract at all right now? And he's just a free agent? Hilarious. Hilarious. And I predicted this before. Like if Ben Simmons comes back and somebody offers him like a $500,000 contract, would he even play? He'd be like, "Nah, I was supposed to be making 20 million a year, guys. When is this crap?" Dude, you're getting paid for what you're worth right now, is what I'm gonna say right now. Andrew saying Scotty is literally what Ben was supposed to be, yet he's getting like half the exposure and hype. Yeah, the thing about Ben Simmons was like he was anointed right away, and they really put a lot of marketing in him. The NBA has had some tough lessons about anointing golden boys in the last 10 years. They want to pick certain players that they think, oh, this is going to be the guy, and they're going to be so good to market around and all this kind of stuff. And then Anthony Edwards says something about gay people out in public, or Zion Williamson has a porn star that's after him in public, or Jason Tatum's just an idiot. There's all kinds of different reasons why golden boys are kind of lame. Ja Morant, another great example of like somebody they want to market, but they really are having problems. So it's so stupid. NBA, Scotty's a very easy to market player, but in some ways you guys are ignoring him. And that's stupid. And I know it's because he plays in Canada. And it's bullshit, honestly. It's absolute bullshit. Let's see. Carlos saying, so looking at that post, the pregnancy seems to be further along. I wonder when she's due. Yeah, this is a great, astute, critical thinking, detective kind of thing by Carlo. In fact, in the picture from Sunday on Scotty's Instagram stories, she looks very full bellied. And this could be very true that like she may be carrying and she may be still about to deliver the baby by the end of this year or early next year. I think it's best if the baby comes during the season, honestly. I really, really do, because then in some ways that could have that Fred Van Vliet Sr., because Junior came kind of effect on Scotty's game. So I'd be upset if she had the baby in the summer. I would be. So the fact that she seems further along, this is actually probably a good thing in some ways. Carlos saying skills isn't the issue with Ben. He has all the tools in the world, but this guy has no heart and probably isn't that smart. That's both are right. He has no heart. In some ways, he's been cushied and like easy. He's been granted everything and hasn't had to earn a lot. And then also he isn't that smart. You're exactly right. You can tell he's a very low intelligence person. He's not a very smart person. We can tell. And when he's in charge of his life and he's making the decisions, and maybe in some ways he's had people tell him, no, Ben, you shouldn't be doing this. You should be trying to play and stuff like that. And he's been like, no, it's my mental health and all this kind of stuff and different things. I don't want poo-poo mental health issues, but Ben Simmons has kind of abused that thing. Seriously, he really has. And he really fucked up with the Philadelphia crowd and made it worse by just acting like a dumbass. So he isn't that smart, obviously. Now, Andrew's saying Scotty developed a jump shot in a single offseason. Ben hasn't done that in 8 years. There's got to be a problem with the work ethic. Yeah, that's another great point by Andrew right there. Then in some ways, he probably could have became a better shooter if he'd put more time in the gym instead of walking around looking like Arthur from the cartoons on PBS. That's what I'll say right there. Andrew saying, I just realized I forgot about Julius Randle when I put that Knicks starting lineup together. Yeah, I don't know if he's long to be there or not. I mean, in some ways, he doesn't really fit with the new look of the Knicks. and that they may need to just move on from him. I don't know what Julius's future is. I do know that the Knicks have put him on blast recently on their social media, saying, I can't wait to see 30 come back and play Big Randall. So Andrew's saying either he starts over Hart or he might get traded. I could see him getting traded. Isaac saying, I listened to her music yesterday on YouTube. It's decent. Touch Grass, Scotty Barnes. She's a really good singer. Like, she does those TikTok duets where she sings with somebody else, and she's really good. Like, she's got a great voice. She's got a real talent with her voice, like a bona fide talent. Seriously, I don't say that facetiously. I actually have a lot of training in music and understanding who has talent and who doesn't. And she's very talented. She's very, very talented. Yeah, the music is great. Good stuff, Isaac Campbell. Blackhawk saying Ben is not a free agent, but it's coming up. Yeah, either way, I don't care. In some ways, we've talked too much about Ben Simmons, honestly. All right, let's do the Instagram stories before I forget real quick. First, we've got Jamal McGlure. He's got the 5th anniversary celebration of the Purple Factory. Something's going on where they're giving things. He's got Compass Digital on blast still with the Jamal McGlure Foundation, giving out those laptops to the kids. There's also the bursary he's putting on blast. Also, 2 recipients can receive up to $4,000 from the Garth McGlure music bursary. He's quoting Denzel Washington this morning, Jamal McGlure. Denzel once said, your own family will talk shit about you when you're in the process of breaking all their generational curses. This ain't for the weak. Boom goes a dynamite. Jamal McGlure, heavy stuff right there. And I won't disagree. He's also got a 1986 Converse commercial with Magic Johnson in it. And there's Isaiah, too, with those old school Converse high tops. Oh, and there's Kevin McHale. Kevin McHale's goofy Herman Munster ass. Oh, Mark Aguirre when he was on the Dallas Mavericks. Pretty cool. All right, Gary Trent Sr. has got a little kid at a clothing store, and he's putting his hand on this woman's huge butt. And the father is proud of his son. The little kid is like just resting his hand on this woman's butt, and the lady's like, excuse me, the baby's got his hand on my butt, and the father's like, oh, that's my boy. That's my boy. Anyway, also he's showing some clips from some league somewhere where they're trying to lay up the ball and they keep missing the layups going back and forth. It's ridiculous. It's really, really bad, honestly. And Gary's saying trash, basically trash league. And apparently Gary's talking about how in San Francisco, people are still stealing stuff so much that there's a sign outside the stores that says, notice, stolen goods must remain under $950. I don't know if this is a real thing. In some ways, there's a lot of right-wing bullshit that's coming out that's made up and manufactured. But apparently they're saying in San Francisco, they're so used to people coming in and stealing shit that they just don't want them to steal really, really expensive shit. And they're like, go ahead and steal the cheap shit is what's going on there. I don't know how much that's true. And in some ways, I don't really like Gary purporting this stuff because we don't know if that's exactly true. Let's see. Also, Gary's got this lady who's got like, wait till daddy comes home with the food. And like, hey, girls, now, dear, what were you saying about daddy and the strange lady? What? Gary Trent Sr. has the weirdest Instagram stories. Let's see. He's also saying your soulmate is the person who keeps you showing up. That's probably true. The person that comes in your life, a good person that you keep showing up for. That's awesome. And if you can find that person, if you're lucky enough to find that person, hold on to them. Seriously. I mean it. I mean it. Gary Trent Sr. is at the dentist also, and he's got something in his mouth. And this is, once again, one of those cringe kind of things where it's like, okay, maybe we're seeing too much of your life, Trent Sr. He's on the dentist chair, and he's putting it on Instagram. Pascal, totally Camp Pascal in Orlando at his residence with his Pacers teammates. They're all down there. They're all together. They're in a unit, man. They're all there. Seriously. I can see every single Indiana Pacers there working with Pascal at his place. He's got pictures of him and all the rest of them. He's really celebrating his teammates. There's Aaron Nesmith. There's Jerace Walker. There's Tyrese and TJ McConnell. Yeah, they're all there. Obi Toppin, and they're getting ready for the season. Even old Raptor James Johnson is at Pascal Siakam's house working out with them, old Kung Fu master. Yeah, Miles Turner, of course, also longest standing Indiana Pacers. So, man, I am telling you guys, those Pacers are working, putting in that work, and I hope that they do really well this year under Rick Carlisle. Slim Duck showing more of the photos of him putting in that work. He's also got on blast something called It's Shania X. Don't miss out. Get yours today because your health matters. It's some sort of like water or honey or something. I'm not totally sure what it is, but Chris has got some sort of item for sale. Y'all can check it out on his Instagram stories, and maybe you want to buy it. And there's some crazy kid saying, "What up, my boy?" And then it's like he's saying, "I need a day between every day." He's like, he needs a day of rest between every day that he's doing things. I get that, Chris. I get that. And more crazy babies that he's posting right there. Norman Powell working with the youth and also working out himself at the UNLV gym right now. So he's in Vegas again, back from Hawaii, and he's putting in work at UNLV Jersey there. Let's see, Dylan Diso is celebrating a new acquisition for the Utah Jazz, Max Abrams. I'm not sure who that is. DJ Carton is in Toronto. He's taking a picture from the lakeshore and near the music garden of the CN Tower. So we see DJ Carton checking in the city. He's here, obviously getting ready for pre training camp. So DJ Carton is in the 416. It is confirmed. And then Jamal Shedd's got his brothers, his Houston teammates, on blast on his Instagram stories. So there's your Instagram stories for today. Yeah, DJ Carton in Toronto. There you go. There you go. All right, let's keep going. Let's see. Kareem saying, I know we've had some big busts in the NBA, but Ben Simmons is up there with the worst of them. I won't disagree. Although, he's had serviceable years. The worst busts are where you get nothing from the player. That's why I say Bargnani's not a bust. In some ways, it's a player like Greg Oden that plays for like 2 years and that's it. That's more of a bust. And it's not Greg's fault. It's his injuries. Somebody like Anthony Bennett is a bust. Michael Olowokandi, they didn't play a whole lot, is a bust. Those are more like bust players. Purvis Ellison, another one we've seen recently on the classic card. Guys who just didn't play very long in the league and at not very high level at all, and they were still the number one pick. So that's Ben Simmons has played some games, but he's a real disappointment. That's for sure. Andrew saying if Scotty was a Magic and Paulo was a Raptor, they'd be calling Scotty a top 15 player. That might be very true. You could switch those guys out and they would have a very, very different way that they'd be covering them. I think you're exactly right on that. Let's see. Where am I in the comments? I want to just make sure. Let's see. Hang on. Oh, I jumped the comments here. Carlos saying we're gonna be having our second baby any day now. I wish I had my children when I was in my 20s. There you go, Carlo. Congratulations on that. That's big news for sure. Let's see. Levi Hildebrand, new commenter. Welcome. We do a Raptors live stream every morning for 2 hours from 9:30. Raptors Freak channel, talking daily Raptors and all the different issues that are going on. A morning Raptors Freaks, first time commenter, long time listener. Thoughts on new jerseys? Sorry if you already covered them. Just join. No problem, Levi. I'll go over them real quick once again. Of course, we're doing the Vince Carter era purple front blackbacks for our throwback jerseys for the 40th anniversary games. This is the jersey right here, an old Keon Clark version of it. Of course, it'll have special patches on it that have the 40th anniversary patch on here. And this is going to be our classic jersey for this year. And I'm excited about it. I don't mind this jersey. I think that this jersey has grown on me over time. I like the fact that it's black on the back and purple on the front. And then also with the chevrons going on the sides, that's kind of interesting. But yeah, it's a classic look. Of course, the Raptors have done classic jerseys for our 20th and 25th anniversary seasons. So for the 30th anniversary season, of course, we're going to do it. And it's time for this one. And it kind of like will cycle through old jerseys decades after they have come through, and we'll use them. Like the dinosaur jerseys were used for the 20th and the 25th anniversary. So now we've elevated to the Vince Carter, this jersey now to commemorate. Now the City Edition jersey, which has been confirmed to be the Vince dunking logo of the Raptor, is very interesting. I just want to see it centered up, and I do like the jagged pinstripes on it. And it's not a bad jersey. And of course, a lot of Raptors fans will be very happy to see that we're not doing the gold jerseys for City Edition this year. Because a lot of people are kind of like, I'm sick of the black and the gold jerseys. Well, you're not getting that this year. So Levi, great to see you. Thanks for commenting today. I hope that we see you more often in the chat. But anytime you come in, and I appreciate you watching before also. Yeah, Andrew saying, I like both jerseys, to be honest. A lot better than most of the other ones that look like warm-up jerseys. Yeah, that'll be what we cover tomorrow. Thursday Think Tank. I'm going to go over the city edition jerseys that we know that are released for the 30 teams in the NBA, and we'll kind of critique them, and we'll go by each one. And I'll love to hear you guys' comments on what you think about them on the Thursday Think Tank tomorrow. City edition jerseys. We'll be going over the whole leagues, and we'll of course talk more extensively about our own one ourselves. Also, yeah. Let's see. Stream W Vibes. Keep at it always, Lex. Go Raptors for life. Good times are coming. That's right. Thanks for the cutoff, Mo. I've got about a half an hour. We'll see if I can get there. Carlos saying, whoa, Woj is retiring. This is something that just came out just now. Wow, we're getting all kinds of bombshells of news. That does not surprise me. The job that Woj and Shams do is huge, and it's 24/7, and it's very time consuming and exhaustive. And apparently, Shams has said that he sleeps with his phone. He can't have a life. He cannot go and do anything because he has to be on top of everything at all times. So he doesn't do anything with his life other than his job. And he's constantly on the phone and doing things all the time. So I'm not surprised by this, that maybe Woj is like tapping out and saying, I'm getting older and I can't do this anymore. I can't be the Woj bomber. I can't be the person that's on top of everything. In some ways, he's in a very powerful position. And I want to see whose successor is, or who the person is going to jump in the void and do their job. Hopefully, they'll do it more ethically, and hopefully they'll do it right way. Because in some ways, Woj and Shams have been way too powerful in the NBA world for hurting people's careers, to be honest. They have hurt a lot of NBA players' careers with misinformation and not being totally responsible with what they are putting out. Let's just put it that way. Tobias saying, what do you think of Portland getting a WNBA team unless you talked about it? I think it's great. I think that this is the time to strike while the iron is hot, with the WNBA popularity being scorching hot. And the enthusiasm can be built into the communities like ours, getting our team, Golden State getting one, and Portland now. That is, yeah, get it going. The enthusiasm's there, and you're getting new fans really quickly from the markets. And Portland's a great place. Once again, those three cities, if you think about it, San Francisco, Toronto, and Portland, are very progressive cities that have a huge amount of fans that will be very willing to celebrate and support WNBA. So it makes total sense. And I'm already speculating, well, that's an odd number. That means that there's going to be one more team added. So there'll be 4 expansion teams for the WNBA in the next couple years. And it could very well be that Portland's coming in the same year as us. We know that Golden State's team may be coming in next year, and we may be coming in the year after that with probably Portland and maybe this other team that's going to get announced still. I speculate that the 4th WNBA team that will be added will be Philadelphia. I will say that because they don't have a team there yet, and they kind of want it, and it makes sense that Philly would get one. It does make sense. Let's see. Andrew's saying, do they have a name for the Portland team yet? No. I mean, they just announced this morning the team. So they're not going to be ahead of us with naming the team. I mean, they've named the team for Golden States because they're coming in next year, and they need to be ahead, and they have to have all this stuff kind of marketed. So we haven't announced our name yet. So definitely Portland has not, since they did not have a team yesterday, and they just got it announced today. So yeah, they got to wait. We'll see what they come up with. I could see them being named the Portland Roses, guys, partly just because it's the Rose City and the Rose Garden. So they could be very much the Portland Roses. Seriously, I could see that. That may be possible. We'll see. G saying, Carlo J, for real, we are stuck with Shams now? I'm going to say this. Somebody's going to pop up and take that spot and be the next Woj in training. So, yeah, don't expect it to just be Shams, especially since Shams is compromised by working for a betting company in some ways. We're going to have a more bona fide, real NBA newsbreaker going to step into Woj's place. Who knows? Maybe it's Blake Murphy. Wouldn't that be awesome if it was our own home market? Blake Murphy came up and became like the next Woj for the whole entire NBA. It's tough. It's because in some ways it's who you know, and you have to really be established as an information broker in the world of the NBA to get to that spot. Blackhawk saying King Kong ain't got nothing on me. Okay, all right then. Smooth saying Woj becoming GM of a U.S. college basketball team. That's weird. That's a really weird career change. Very, very weird. Being reported now by Jeff Passan. All right, thanks for the breaking news. Not sure if this is real though. I mean, I don't know. In some ways, I don't know why somebody would make this up or lie about this. Smith saying Jeff Passan is an MLB insider and the account was hacked in the past. Okay, so we don't have this bona fide yet, but I'll just go ahead and act like this sounds like it's plausible, although it's kind of weird. Carlos saying, "Wow, what a transition." Yeah, I don't understand it. Woj, I mean, you're getting paid big bucks for doing what you do. Maybe you just got to tap out because it's just too tiring. I don't know. This sounds like it's a different challenge, but why would you go into this? I've never even think of this. The GM of a U.S. college basketball team. That doesn't make any sense. There's no GMs of U.S. college basketball teams. It's like athletic directors at schools, but there's not any position called GM of a U.S. college team. Let's see. Andrew's saying, yeah, it is real. Woj posted about it on his IG about it. Okay, so he's confirming it himself. So it's real. Blackhawk saying, if Woj is retiring, something is going on behind the scenes. Yeah, who knows? I mean, like I said, the Amazon TV deal with the NBA is going to have a reverberation, and there's going to be a lot of different things that may be changing about the league and different things and stuff. Infamous is here. Salute, freaks. And Masai is forced out. I'm out as a fan. I don't trust Rodgers. Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to take this day by day. In some ways, I've made an oath to do this channel no matter what. And even if things get dark, well, I'm going to be here for us just in case. And I can't say I'm out, but I will be here covering it all and trying to go through it with everybody who decides to stick around. But hey, I get what you're saying, Infamous. It's a little scary, but I've found that we can manifest good things in our life if we think positive and think that good is going to happen to us. So if we want to think bad things are going to happen, well, it's more likely they will. So train your mind to see the good in things and forecast good for yourself, and it will come true. It's all perception in some ways. It's all perception. Kareem saying, did Woj do his own Woj bomb? He probably should have. It would be only right, right? Carlos saying Schefter's reporting it too. Okay, so the NFL guy's getting in on it too. So we got the MLB and the NFL reporting about our NBA guy. G saying Smooth Bleacher Report just posted it. He's taking the job. Okay. All right, moving on up. It's a little bit like the Luke Wynn thing. Luke Wynn's a sports writer, and now he's the GM of the 905. Okay, it's a little weird. It's a little weird. Blackhawk saying Woj better not be part of that Diddy scandal. I heard that P. Diddy got picked up yesterday by the feds for, he's kind of been not in the spotlight because he's had some scandals on the download from what I hear. Trevor saying, Lex, look out for a package between 11 and 2:15 today for delivery. All right. Thank you, Trevor. The classic cards are on their way. And Trevor's saying, I got to expect the delivery driver between those times. All right. Thank you, Trevor. I appreciate you so much. What a great patron of this channel and creating fun for us. Andrew saying, if Oshai has a rough first half of the season, do you think he'll be gone at the deadline? I don't know. Let's not speculate this kind of stuff. In some ways, Oshai Abaji is a young player that has a lot of potential athletically, and we got to try and develop him further. We're just getting a taste of him so far. And in some ways, we need to just let it be. And I don't like putting guys on the bus and saying things like saying Yaka might get traded this year, or Chris, or Oshai, or even like somebody like Bruce Brown, even though it's probably likely he will be traded. But yeah, in some ways, I don't like talking trade speculation too much, especially with players that I like and I'd like to see develop and stay with our team longer. So I have no idea. Let's just see how it plays out. And as it goes, maybe I will be talking about this, Andrew, as far as things. Of course, we know players that don't play well don't help their trade value. So in some ways, it's a tough thing. If it doesn't play well, then it may not be good for us in any kind of way because we may not be able to move him. How about that? How about that? All right, let's see. What else? Let's see. Carlos saying, I will not be all doom and gloom with the ownership change. These guys are all about money, and Masai brought in the most money. This is true. And this is one thing. I mean, that's the great thing about 2019 championship is that the ownership group got the taste of what championship means economically and brings it up. So in some ways, they know if they can do this and they can work us towards that again and get that payday again, it's worth it. So if there was never any feeling of that or feeling what the impact would be like, I'm sure these guys wouldn't strive for it. But there's a precedent, and there is a 2019 championship and an economic boom for the MLSE and the team. So yeah, they probably strive for it. Let's go. Yeah. Smooth saying, Lex, talk about Diddy. I don't know anything about Diddy. I don't know what happened to him. I know that he was he did like that California Love, and wait, that was Tupac. I don't even know. I don't know what happened with Diddy. Diddy has something to do with Epstein and stuff like that. I don't need to talk about it. Infamous saying, don't talk about Diddy. Yeah, I'm going to go with Infamous on this one. I don't need to talk about Diddy. I don't know any of the details. I don't care in some ways. Blackhawk saying, if Scotty said he wants to play for Team Canada, the U.S. would do everything under heaven and earth to stop it. I don't know if that's totally true. I mean, I don't know. In some ways, Scotty doesn't really have a direct line to play for Canada. I mean, if he became a Canadian citizen, maybe. But even then, like what happened before with Matt Bonner kind of shows that it may not be very easy for it to be finagled. Sure, Joel Embiid becoming American and being on the U.S. team is kind of bullshit. But Scotty doing this, even if with Canadian family, like uncles and aunts, and him really loving Toronto, I'm telling you guys, he doesn't have an interest in playing for us. He wants to play for USA, and that's what he should do. Honestly, he should play for the United States. I don't want to get into this whole realm of like Scotty should be on Team Canada with us because in some ways he shouldn't. He really, really shouldn't because he's not Canadian, guys. He may be Canadian by heart and being on the Raptors, but he's technically and legally not Canadian, guys. Just so y'all know. Let's see. Trevor's saying Adrian Wojnarowski retired from ESPN. Where are you, Trevor? You're not seeing the chat. You got to read the other comments. There's too much duplication in the Facebook chat. Somebody's already posted something and somebody's posting it again. Look out and keep track of what's in the chat already because there's been a lot of duplication. And this is indicative of it right here. Smooth saying Scotty Barnes is Team USA through and through, man. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he has the time on the junior levels and that's something very proud of him. He likes his gold medals that he's won on USA in the under levels. And in some ways, he wants to get that main enchilada top men's gold, Olympic gold, just like those guys did this summer. He wants to do that eventually, and he will. He will. Just like DeMar and Kyle went and did it as Raptors, he will probably do the same thing. I mean, the precedent is there. Kyle Lowry, DeMar DeRozan spent summer on the Olympics and won gold medals for Canada, for a United States. And Scotty will probably do the same thing at some point. Maybe in the next Olympics, he might be there. He probably should be by that time. He probably should be. Andrew saying, yeah, Scotty is loyal and grew up as a Team USA alumni. Yeah. Yeah. As much as we want that and stuff like that, it's just not realistic, guys. Now, could we say Scotty's child, when they get older and being Canadian citizen, they could be on Team Canada somehow, some way, possibly. We'll have to see. Blackhawk saying, we will see about that, Smooth. We got Scotty singing the Canadian anthem already. Yeah, it was funny. Scotty was talking about it. It's like, you know, you hear it so often, you learn it after a couple times. So that's how he learned it, just from hearing it at the game so often. But yeah, he likes singing the Canadian anthem. Tobias is saying, I'm not sure what the Portland team is named. I only saw it on my Instagram feed. Yeah, it's not named at all. They just announced that they're giving them a team. So that's the same place where we were months ago when they announced Toronto was getting a team. Well, they're just coming into that. So anybody expecting the Portland team to be named already? Come on now. They just got the team granted to them, and they're going to have to go through the creative process just like us, and they're behind us. So we're going to get the Toronto WNBA team before we're going to hear the Portland WNBA team, guys. Think about it. Think about it logically. Kareem saying, all I hope is that Diddy does the right thing for once and just expose everyone else wrongdoing. There's no way he takes the fall all by himself. I mean, all right, I got two things on this. I've heard some stories about really fucked up, weird celebrities doing weird sex shit. I also know that there's a proclivity in American society to tear down a successful black man. But I know that probably Diddy is really creepy and he's done a lot of creepy ass shit, just like Bill Cosby. So, in some ways, without knowing the details, in some ways, this is not TMZ. This is not current affair, even though I was talking about Scotty's love life today. I don't like talking about these kind of subjects. In some ways, it's not interesting to me. Whatever happened with Sean Combs is his own damn business. If he's done some crimes, he needs to pay for them. But also at the same time, I would question if he had his white equivalent, would they be coming after him just as heavy? That's the only other thing I would say. If there's some white guy that's a similar thing to him and was doing the same thing as him, are they looking the other way on that guy and not trying to nail him like they're trying to nail Diddy? So anyway, I'm not comfortable talking about this subject, first of all, because I don't know anything about it. So I'm talking out of my ass. How about that? Andrew saying, I wish the Toronto team was coming in next year. I can't wait to have basketball to watch all year long. It's going to make this stream a lot more different. That's for sure. But yeah, I can't wait either. But we have, it takes some time to set up a franchise and do it correctly. And Teresa needs the time to do it all right. They need to get the logos and get the names and the colors and everything figured out and all the branding. And then, we need an expansion draft and we need to find a coach and we need to do all the other things to get it all in its right order. And we'll get there. It'll be there soon enough, Andrew. You watch. We'll be there and we'll be like, yeah, this day has come. We're watching WNBA in Toronto. Finally. Blackhawks saying they don't need Diddy to expose everyone else. They have the digital recordings. Well, I've heard that it's like really gross. Isn't this all tied in with Cat Williams and his rant that he went on earlier this year exposing everybody. Like, this is all tied in with the same thing, right? Cat Williams went off apparently earlier this year, and yeah. And Smooth saying Diddy is the tip of the iceberg. Well, hey, listen, if something is wrong and something is happening like this, it needs to crumble. If there is people that are doing wrong things, they need to do that. That's right. Andrew's saying the Portland Lillards, that is not going to be the name. That's for sure. They will not be the Portland Lillards. I'm telling you, it's very likely they'll have some sort of rose in their name, because the Portland is the Rose City, and the arena that the Blazers have played in is the Rose Garden. And Rose is a very iconic word around the city of Portland. So it's very, very likely that the team's going to have the name Rose in it somewhere. Very, very likely. I would guess that. Blackhawk saying Diddy's estates have so much surveillance that they're a peeper's paradise. All right, y'all, on the Diddy stuff. I want to move past it. Tobias saying the Portland team starts playing in 2026. So yeah, so they're going to be playing starting when we are. They're going to be starting when we are. We're going to start in 2026 also. We're not starting in 2025 next year. We're not going to be ready by then. So they're going to start the same year we're going to start. So Trevor's saying P. Diddy charged yesterday in New York for kidnapping and sex trafficking. See, this is the problem. In some ways, like Epstein, there's a little bit of trafficking of young women for sex in ways that is just totally wrong. And there's different type of people sex trafficking right now. There's younger, like there's not younger. There's small time people. Like there could be a guy down south. Like I would go to a gas station in Florida years ago when I was there, and I'd go into a gas station and there'd be like these big tough guys with a bunch of young women, and they all look like scared and abused. And they're like, get what you want, and then we get back in the car. And I'm like, holy shit, what is this? And in some ways, that's how it happens. Like young women run away from home, and then they get lured by men and they control them. And they basically use them as like a commodity for like whoring them out, and also kind of like force them to do stuff. This is the action. Let's not get this twisted. This is the action of Jeffrey Epstein, and this is apparently the action of Sean Combs and some other people are very famous. That's what sex trafficking is. It's taking young women and even young men sometimes and using them against their will and making them do sexual things and them not having a way out. Like if I was at that gas station again and I saw those young women, I'd be like, blink at me 3 times and tell me if you're in trouble, kind of shit. Because you don't know in some ways, and it's a really telltale sign. I see these 2 big, huge, tough guys, and they got like 5 or 6 young, hot girls that all look like beat up, not beat up, but like not healthy and scared. And like, I'm like, man, this doesn't look right. This doesn't look right. Blink 3 times to me if you're okay or not. That kind of shit. You're thinking that. So Andrew saying, I feel like one of the best ways for Scotty to get his respect from Americans is to pop off for them in the 2028 Olympics. I agree with this. I think in some ways this helped Lowry and DeRozan in the past. That, in some ways they're up here making the culture of the Raptors and making us win and making us respected. Well, them playing for U.S. and helping to win the gold got them more of a spotlight for sure. So and this is exactly true. Andrew's right. In some ways, Scotty playing for USA in the Olympics is a good thing because in some ways it may get him more respect personally, and by indirectly, the Raptors get more respect also. Mischief's here. Good to see the base man. Good morning, Lex and everybody. I believe in this Raptors team. Raptors are a playoff team. Boom goes the dynamite. Big man's coming in and saying, what's up, Jay? Thanks for saying that, man. And I want to believe with you too. I think that if we get around 40 wins, well, we can be in the playoffs. So we got to get the 40 wins. We got a plus 15, our win total from last year, Scotty and RJ. So you guys get out there. I believe they can do it too. I'm with you. I'm with you, base man. I am. Blackhawk saying if Team USA doesn't make room for Scotty, then I don't see why he can't be on Team Canada. We can hook him up with dual citizenship. I don't think he wants to settle for that, though. And in some ways, it's not a good look in different ways. So I don't see this, Neil. I really don't. I think he's going to get to Team USA fine. And they may not kind of be shunning him, but he's on the fringes. Remember, he was on that list of their long list of people to be considered. And I think that this is the thing. One thing walks into the next thing. And if he plays really well, he gets more all-stars and does really good things on the Raptors, he'll have more eyes on him to be on the Team USA for 2028. And then that'll, it goes into that. And then that helps him with the Raptors back the other way. There's a way of doing this that can build and it can help him in his career in all kinds of ways. So I just don't think, I think we need to let this go. Everybody's dream of Scotty Barnes wearing the maple leaf for Canada and the Olympics, just get over yourself. It's not realistic. It's not ever going to happen, is what I'm going to say to people. Mischief saying, is Scotty's girl American or Canadian? She's from Guelph. She's Canadian. She's straight up Canadian. She's definitely Canadian. Yes, Scotty's girl is Canadian. Yes, she is. Andrew saying, I think Scotty will have a spot. Team USA's future is full of guard depth and not as much forward depth. I think both Scotty and Paulo will make it. Yeah. Yeah. And she's Canadian for sure. Yeah. I think that you're right. I think that once again, he's an all round talent. And this is the thing. A lot of the all round talent in the NBA is foreign right now. It's Giannis, Luka, Nikola. In some ways, Scotty being like LeBron and them, there's not as many NBA guys that are American that are all round talent. And Scotty is one of the few. So he may be necessary for them in some ways. When you think about LeBron and Kevin and Steph going off in the sunset and maybe not involved in this next Olympic cycle, there's some seats that are going to be open for people to come and get it. That's right. Tobias saying, hell yeah, if it were a white guy in the same position as Diddy, law enforcement definitely would be looking the other way, or at least taking payoffs or something like that. That's what you guys got to understand. And my eyes are open to this. I understand this. That some ways people like Tiger Woods, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jackson have been coming after. You know, even Michael Jordan, people will come after him for his scandals in very gleeful ways to tear down a very powerful rich black man. And in some ways, I mean, this is not disputed. In some ways, African American celebrities and people of prominence have to really safeguard themselves because there are people out there trying to pull that string and unravel their lives. I'm not saying that Diddy is not guilty. He probably very much is, but I do question if there is a very powerful, rich white person that's similar to him, if they've had their shit covered up and they get a little bit of a free pass. That's what I'm wondering about right there. So he's saying, I can't listen to any of Diddy's tracks anymore, including Biggie, on the ban list with R. Kelly and Nick Cannon. There you go. I don't blame you. I can't listen to R. Kelly anymore either. I never really listened to much Diddy myself, so this is not hard for me. Kareem saying, I'll put Raptors starting five versus any starting five in the East. It's our bench depth that will be detrimental to the team. We are top 7 at least in the East. I think our starting lineup is very strong also. And that's even without knowing who the 5th starter is with the barbecue yak. I think that you're right. I think that you're exactly right. Now, our bench gets as good as our bench mob starts to rise up and play better and better. That's Shamshay Shed, Jacoby Walter, Jonathan Mobo. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see how quickly these guys show up. And maybe they can show up like Freddie, DeLon, Norman Powell, Pascal Siakam, and Jakob Poeltl did before. Yeah, in some ways, Yaka being on the team now, he can be kind of like, yeah, you guys, we did this thing called the bench mob when I was a rookie, and it was really good. Like, it was really good. We pushed Kyle and all them, and we were actually getting more minutes than them sometimes because we played better than the starters. If you guys want to be like us, you have to compete with us, the barbecue yak, then you got to show that you're better on the court than us. And then, boom, all of a sudden the Raptors will have arrived with a very deep team because y'all have come up and you have excelled. And then in some ways, we need Jamal Shed to be like Fred VanVleet. Is what we're saying right there. Yeah. Andrew's saying, I think we'll definitely make the play in at least. We can be better than the Pistons, Wizards, Hornets, Nets, Bulls, maybe Atlanta. That puts us in the 9th seed. Yeah, I think we should get to the play in at least, but there is a shot that we could get a full on playoff spot also. We've got to remember there's all kinds of X factors in a season. And people can have bad luck as a team in different ways, whether it's injuries or even just chemistry or distractions that come up with teams. It can make things go south. I think that list you got there is very true, that they are going to be teams that we can get above for sure. And well, Atlanta, who knows? We could see how bad Atlanta is. And there may be even a team that we didn't even expect from the Eastern Conference that may be below us also that is not on that list right there. Yeah. Kareem saying, what happened to Epstein's list, by the way? Well, I think too many people that were important that want to be protected were on it. And that's why we haven't seen it. And that's why it goes away. I mean, we know Trump's on it. Trump was all over Epstein's island. And he is definitely the kind of person that would partake in the disgusting things that were happening with underage women over there. So, yeah, I mean, that may be part of it right there. Maybe the big reason why we haven't seen Epstein's list is because Donald Trump has tried to be involved in major politics this whole time. That's what I would say right there. And if the list was actually coming out, it probably would destroy Donald Trump even worse than he already has for himself right now. So I think that that may be a big deal of it. It's been suppressed partly because of Trump and his political dreams and what he's trying to do all the time. So Smooth saying what Diddy is accused of doing is next level, man. It really is. I haven't heard the gory details. In some ways, I don't want to know. In some ways, I don't want to know. He's not really somebody who's that important to me, but also at the same time, this kind of tabloid gossip kind of shit is not something that I like revel in learning about celebrity gossip and stuff like that. So it's not really my thing. Blackhawk saying Smooth. If you had Nick Cannon tracks, that is crazy. If you had Nick Cannon track, that is crazy. I'm not totally sure what that means. And Smooth saying any collabs with Nick Cannon, I mean, have been deleted by me. Oh, you mean like if you had his straight up music? It's like because it's bad. I know that guy's more known now for having a lot of kids and also for being like a game show host now. Isn't he like one of the game show hosts on TV right now? There's so many game shows on in the evening, and like Nick Cannon is hosting a game show or something. I know Wayne Brady does another one. Steve Harvey's been doing a lot of game shows too, stuff like that. All right, I guess I got to the end of the chat. We're about 5 minutes away from my cutoff. Y'all, we know the lady who is Scotty's baby mama, and she's a nice young lady. She seems like she's a Canadian woman. And she's not the normal like hood rat gold digger that's around NBA players. So I wish them well. I think that it's going to be great for Scott. I think it's going to be a fantastic new chapter in his life, becoming a dad. And I'm so happy for him. I really am. And I think that it's going to be hopefully a very positive side effect on our team that this happens. So Andrew's saying maybe there's a world where we're better than the Heat, Magic, Pacers, and Cavs, but that's a big stretch. Yeah, I don't say the Heat is most likely out of all those teams as far as things. I think that I think the Pacers are good. They're going to be fine. The Cavs, I wish we could be better than the Cavs, but that's not likely. And the Magic, same thing. The Magic and the Cavs are kind of the same place. Blackhawk said, I never followed Nick Cannon. I thought he was just a Nickelodeon actor. That's right. Isn't that where he started from? And Isaac's got Scotty with the Canadian flag. I love that. I love that. Also, we found out today that Bell has sold their stock in their ownership in the Raptors and MLSE to Rogers. And now Rogers will be the high percentage owner of MLSE. There's a little bit of worry about that news and what is to come for our team with that news. Hopefully, only good things. Let's wish for good things. Let's give Rogers a chance. And let's hope that Keith Pelly runs a good ship and looks out for Masai Ujiri and Scotty Barnes and Bobby Webster and helps the Raptors continue to be good, try to get better and better, and win our second championship. That's what I say. The jerseys have been released, and we're going to do a think tank on the jerseys tomorrow. So come back tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. We'll be talking more in depth about the City Edition and the throwback jersey for this year. Definitely. Let's see. Our fantasy league last night, there were some games, and Kareem has got a 680 to 595 lead over me. So he's got an 85-point lead with only one more day to go. Kareem, I think you've got that third place trophy. And then David is in behind, second behind our leader, Meredith, 695 to 572. So there's a 123-point lead for MK in the championship matchup. So MK's well on his way to his second WNBA fantasy championship in the Raptor Freak League, the only person to win our WNBA fantasy both years. So way to go, MK, especially undefeated this year. Absolutely amazing. Happy birthday to Serge Ibaka and Amari Moore. Once again, it's their birthdays today. And I think that's about it, guys, as far as the things I wanted to cover today. Thanks for watching me today on a Wow Wednesday. Wow. Scotty Barnes. The truth is, I think he's having a baby, y'all. And these aren't rumors. I think that me sussing it out, looking at it with critical thinking, I think this is very true, that Scotty is going to be a dad. And we should expect that coming very, very soon. Let me just check one more thing real quick. Yeah. And well, hopefully everything goes healthy and really, really smooth and awesome in the pregnancy for Scotty and his young girlfriend. And I call her young, even though she's 32. And everybody, thanks for watching today. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I'll be back tomorrow, guys. Kareem saying Biggie's my favorite rapper of all time. And hearing Diddy ad-lib over it makes me sad. And Andrew saying, thanks, Lex. Have a good one. Yeah. Y'all have a good one, too. Let's not dwell on Diddy. Let's think about good stuff. Get out there and touch grass. Let's raptorize our day like Nat Bhatia would. And hopefully everything's going to work out with all the turn of events, whether it's Woj retiring, whether it's the new ownership changes with MLSE, all of it. We just want to hope for the best and think positive and think for the best. And that's the way to live your life. If you do that, good things will happen. Trust me. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching. Let's go Raptors. Let's go WNBA Toronto. Let's go Team Canada men's basketball and women's basketball and 3-on-3. Let's go to the games in the preseason. Monique getting her ticket. Let's go Raptors. All right, y'all. See y'all tomorrow. Let's go, Scotty. Gonna be a dad. Old dad. Scott, you're old dad now. Come on now, Scotty. Gonna have a little boy or a little girl. I don't know what you're gonna have, but I just wish you well in having that child. That's what I'll say right now. Just wish you well. And yeah, you're gonna be a good dad. I can tell he's gonna be a funny dad.